And welcome. Today we're going to be talking about how you can build the best grey dwarf spawner in the game and farm the resources from them. Now the perk of this particular spawner is it is optimized in the game, so you're not going to be using lots of wolves to kill grey dwarves, and you're not going to have a problem where you have to repair the build every 30 seconds either. The only thing that you will have to bear in mind is you are going to have to build with stone for this. So you're looking at having to at least have unlocked iron for this. And you're also going to need to get hold of some Fenris claws. I will mention that this particular build was not my own design. It was actually from a member of our community, James Owen, who's a patron. They very kindly suggested checking out their build, and from that we were able to decipher how it was made. And as you can see, this actually works during the rain as well. So this is perfect no matter what. Anyway, with that in mind, let's get into it. So in order to start producing this farm, the first thing that we're going to need to locate is a spawner in the Black Forest. This is the Grey Dwarf nest. One thing that we should mention with these spawners is they're going to continue producing their Grey Dwarfs until the spawner is covered with a roof or has been destroyed. Now we don't want to destroy these. These are what are going to produce the grey dwarves which we're going to farm. So if you do want to get started and you don't want them to spawn, make sure that the whole build is covered with a roof. First job is going to be to get rid of all of the grey dwarfs that are around here. And then, as quickly as possible, you're going to want to build a roof over the top of this. As you can see here, it looks like the spawner has stopped spawning the grey dwarfs. This is perfect for now because it's going to allow us to actually work on the build. From here, we're going to want to dig all of this out using a pick. So we're just going to get started. You want to do whatever you can to avoid destroying this. For this particular build, we're going to want to go pretty deep. And we're going to dig all of this out from underneath the spawner here. So you can see at this point we have dug out our little hole, and we are going to build a stone walkway around this whole area. Then we're going to fill this up with the floor braziers. One thing to mention here is that the spawner has to spawn the grey dwarfs on the floor, which is why we're going to build up the stone wall around this. So hopefully all of the grey dwarfs will spawn in a small location where all of our standing braziers are. Of course, for the standing brazier, you are going to need both a bronze, coal, and Fenris claws for this, which means you'll be having to explore some of the caves in the mountain biome. This does mean that it's a slightly more advanced farm. However, I find this is the best way in which to farm the grey dwarfs at the moment, so that you have unlimited wood, stone, grey dwarf eyes, and also dandelions. So now that we've placed our 5 floor braziers, standing braziers, what we're going to do is actually lift up the earth. We're going to try and get it to about the same height. Here you go. All the way across. So you want to be able to add the fuel to them, but we want them to be at the same height so that the grey dwarfs will spawn on top in this area and start taking damage. So we're just going to fill this up now. You can see now we've got a layer all along the top of the standing braziers. So the next thing that we need to do is stone the rest of this area, and we're going to build this up and fill all of this in with stone as well, so that it's just this one area. At this point, you can see we have covered in this whole area. We're going to pop or that in. And now we're going to open up the roof of this. So now we have just opened this up, and we're going to let it do its thing and see if it spawns any of those grey dwarfs in here. And there you go, that's the first one spawning in. Typical, it's a 2-star shaman. But it actually does good to show us that if we look over the pieces, none of these are taking damage. So all we need to do is leave this running. That's going to generate a load of resources for us. Then we'll come back, and once these braziers have run out of fuel, we'll close this off and just grab all the resources. And then we'll talk about what we can do to build proof this and defend it against attacks. Because if this nest breaks, this farm is going to be worthless. I may have miscalculated. I thought standing braziers for some reason lasted half an hour, but actually the coal with one piece of fuel will last for over 5 hours. So if you have it at full capacity, you've got over a day's worth of fuel for these braziers, and you can see this is already filling up very quickly. We can grab the stuff here should we wish as well. The next thing that I want to talk about is defending against various raids and the like. As it currently stands, we're limiting the amount of damage that can be done by it because we've blocked it off from anything getting close to it with the pit. However, the big one that you need to worry about, at least once you get to the mountains, is going to be a cauldron of bats. The last thing we want is for them to take out the nest. And so how we're going to defend against that is to build a wall around this and then have a little open space to make sure that the spawner is still working. And that lip will hopefully stop any cauldron of bats flying down and actually damaging the nest. So to defend this, we're going to first of all add a earth wall around the outside. I'm going to go up to about this height. This will stop anything running up and taking out the actual build here, but we are going to replace that once we've got enough stone down there with a stone ceiling and wall. So we now have the earth wall around this, and the spawner is still working, which is great. Next thing that we want to do is fill this out with stone, and then we're going to build that lip where we'll be able to set up a rooftop should we wish to stop the nest from running. The next thing that I want to do is also to build a teleport down here, and that will be our only way to access this area. I am very much aware that it's very tight in here. If anything, we could have done with digging down a little bit further, but right now what we've added are these little stone archways just across the fires, and what that's going to do is provide a little bit of protection against the rain so that the spawner will still work even when it's raining. The important thing with this is not to cover the whole thing up with the stone. You need to have a gap in the middle, otherwise the spawner will stop spawning the grey dwarfs. The next thing that we need to do is to start building out this section. So all I'm going to do is fill this section out with stone, and then once that's done, we're going to make sure that there's a space for the spawner. And here we are with the finished product. But if we go on the inside, we're just going to go through here. Obviously, this could be connected from your main base to the spawner itself. You come on through and you can see this is just actively producing everything that we need. We've got rock, or I should say stone, wood, dandelions. So if you want a chicken breeder, you can use them. Speaking of which, we will probably do that for the next video. So if you are enjoying this, make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. And if you do find it helpful, do hit the thumbs up as well. It really does help the channel. I've managed to fit the kiln in here, which is just going to be producing coal for us so that we can refuel this whenever we want. And then you also have your trophies, your seeds, your buke berries, and resin all being produced here. So really useful. You can just jump in and grab the stuff really quickly should you wish, or the other option is to wait for it to fully run out of fuel and cover the top. And all you need to do to cover the top is place, say, a roof over the top or some rocky slabs, and that'll stop this from working. But you can see it's generating quite a lot for us in a short amount of time. Right now you can see that it is currently raining, and because of these little stone archways that we've placed, the fires aren't actually going out. So this is going to continue to work despite us having an open top and the rain coming in. There we are. Perfect. But guys, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Why not check out my Let's Play series for the Mistlands, which we just started a couple of weeks ago. I'll put a link to that now. Special thanks does go to all of our amazing supporters, most notably our Solarclipse patrons, James Irwin, Fireflesh, Trebor, and Beowulf, as well as our Lunas, the Calamity, Ben, Star, Shoku, the MN Wolf, and that dude AW, as well as our Blood Moon of the day, which today is Papa Snoozy. Until next time, as always, ciao for now.